what I would say. I think that at the end of the day, if you're asking me why do we need to eliminate blind trusts, it's because blind trusts, I think, are often workarounds because they can be structured in multiple different ways, right? There's not one way to structure blind trust, correct? Or there's only one way?
There is a way that you have to structure it if you're in the Senate and going through ethics. Have you gone through that process before?
No, because I don't have any of these securities, James, because when I got elected, I sold all of my trusts and assets.
Great.
I don't have a blind trust. I practice what I preach. I don't have individual stocks. I don't trade in stocks. I'm not a billionaire, unlike others on this committee. And what I think is the American people are sending us a clear message, and I hope that they are watching this today. They're sending us a message that they want us to behave as they behave.
I don't know when in this country it became a negative to make money. But somehow, if you've made money, you're supposedly, I think Senator Hawley suggests, you shouldn't be serving because you might trade stocks. Now, I came up here, I made money. I started out never knowing my dad, living in public housing. I lived the dream that many of us wanted to live, not be broke. I went to junior college, joined the Navy. I didn't go to some elite university. I went to the cheapest place I could find, and I went and built businesses. But somehow now, if you've made money, somehow it's negative up here. I did what Senator Johnson did. When I became governor of Florida, I sold my operating businesses. Right? I did a blind trust while I was governor. I never saw what was in the blind trust. I never traded one thing that was in the blind trust. Somebody else did it. Now in this job, I don't trade stocks. I don't own operating businesses. But somehow it's suspect because I made money. I don't know how many people in the audience, how many of you don't want to make money? Anybody want to be poor? I don't. Right? So this idea that we're going to attack people because they make money is wrong. Is absolutely wrong. We should cherish all of our different backgrounds.
Let me just say that we have an opportunity here today to do something that the public has wanted us to do for decades, and that is to ban members of Congress from profiting on information that, frankly, only members of Congress have in the buying and selling of stock. 86% of Americans say that members of Congress should not be able to buy and sell shares of stock, individual stock, while they are members of this body, and they are absolutely correct. And the reason is, you can see it, there was just another ethics referral in the House last week. We've seen the former Speaker of the House make millions of dollars in profits. We've seen members of both parties, I'm sad to say, be investigated for their stock trades. And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not. Now, is that insider trading? It is not under the laws. Sometimes people say, well, we already have insider trading laws. We don't need a stock ban. Well, the information that members of Congress are privy to is technically not covered by the insider trading laws, but nobody really believes that the information that we get isn't valuable. It is quite valuable, which is why back during COVID, you saw members of Congress of both parties engage in a flurry of stock trading right after they were getting COVID briefings. Were members of the public getting those briefings? They were not. Were members of the public privy to the kind of information that was being given to members of Congress? No, they were not. And so when you look at what members of Congress are privy to, what they are able to trade on, the access that they have, it's just qualitatively different than your average Joe or Jane, which is why we ought to put into place common sense guardrails that say, if you want to be a member of Congress, you can put you want to save, great. You can buy mutual funds, you can buy broadly diversified investment vehicles. You should not be able to buy and trade individual stock shares in which, frankly, we have an interest in the work that we do. We have information that no other people get, no other members of the public have.
One thing I want to understand here is illiquid assets. So the typical, if you think about an illiquid asset, it's something you have a difficult time selling. So if it's, how do you sell something that's illiquid? I mean, I'm just trying to understand how you do it. I mean, illiquid means there's no buyer. You can't find a buyer, so how do you do it? I mean, I don't understand how you sell it.
Are you asking me, Senator Scott?
So in here, there's a requirement.
This is the
to
same,
sell.
this is the same, you're concerned about the illiquid asset provision?
Right. So I just want to.
It's the same one you voted for last year.
So how's it work? So.
What's identical to the one you voted for in committee last year?
So it's.
Hasn't been changed.
Well, maybe we should go through and better understand it. Okay.
That's fine. I just want to be clear that it hasn't changed since you voted for it last year.
Senator Hawley, you said that I voted for the bill before. You also committed to work with me to improve the bill, which you didn't do. So let's think about where we are. I think everybody on this committee, nobody wants people to do trading. I think we all would agree with that.
Your mic on?
Yeah. Nobody would like people to do trading. We've watched Nancy Pelosi. Seems like she's figured out how to make a fortune off of trading. We'd all like to make as much money as she made in trading. I don't know anybody in the country that's done that well. So, but if you look at this, if you have a small business, you come up here, all right? It's illiquid. There's no buyer. What are you going to do? You just give it away. So you're telling people, let me finish. Okay, there's no buyer. If it's illiquid, there's no buyer. That's why it's called illiquid, all right? You made a reference to billionaires, okay? I don't know when in this country it became a negative to make money. But somehow, if you've made money, you're supposedly, I think Senator Hawley suggests, you shouldn't be serving because you might trade stocks. When I became governor of Florida, I sold my operating businesses, right? I did a blind trust while I was governor. I never saw what was in the blind trust. I never traded one thing that was in the blind trust. Somebody else did it. Now in this job, I don't trade stocks. I don't own operating businesses. But somehow it's suspect because I made money. I don't know how many people in the audience, how many of you don't want to make money? Anybody want to be poor? I don't. Right? So this idea that we're going to attack people because they make money is wrong. Is absolutely wrong. We should cherish all of our different backgrounds. Every one of us has a different background. I've got a business background. But what I was just accused of is making money, and somehow I can't be fair and do things the right way. So I think it's disgusting what is going on here. So, but, I agree with, I completely agree with you. We've got to stop people from trading stocks. But this is way different. This is an attack against the president, attack against the vice president. That's what this is. So I think it's wrong.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to correct that Senator Scott said that if you have a small business, you'd be forced to sell it. Small businesses are explicitly exempted under this bill to 1,200 employees. They are not covered. If you have a small business, you can maintain your ownership in that business throughout the entire time. And I don't mind anybody being rich. What I mind is people getting rich while they're here trading stock, which I think we can all agree on. And this bill would put a stop to.
So 1,200 employees. I had one company with 285,000 employees. That was publicly traded, but when it was private, it was not liquid. I had a variety of manufacturing companies that had a lot of employees. That stock was illiquid. I mean, if any of you bought and sold companies, you do not have, somebody's going to buy today. I know I can walk out the door and there'll be somebody to buy the company. So we're going to make people sell things when it might be an absolute worst time to sell something. And they busted their butt to go build that business, and then they want to come up here and serve, and then we say, well, you got to give up your net worth. That's wrong.
I'd like to make one quick point, then Senator Johnson. On the idea of whether you're a small business or not, I was a physician. There was 150 physicians in my practice, and we owned a bunch of stuff altogether. And we probably had 1,500, 2,000 employees. Sounds like I would have to divest as well. So you could be a small member of a large group that has a lot of money and a lot of employees, and you'd have to divest. I think there's just a lot of things that are not thought through here. Senator Johnson.
I'd like to make a couple more points. I've been here now for 15 years. Again, sold all my stock, sat on cash, lost my you-know-what, not a good investment over the last 15 years. I can't think of one time where there was a piece of information that I go, oh man, if only I could trade in stock and take advantage of this. Not once. I don't disagree that the American public distrusts this body. It's because we're mortgaging our children's future, $37 trillion in debt. They also distrust us because of demagogic piece of legislation like this. So have there been abuses? Yeah, I mean, I think what Nancy Pelosi did was probably pretty abusive. I have no idea how she made that much money. But again, this is self-flagellation. This is blowing something way out of proportion, like there's all kinds of corruption, all kinds of insider deal, trading in all kinds of insider information. Again, I can't think of one time that I heard in a secure briefing or some piece of information, I said, hey, I can make money off of this one. Can't think of one time, 15 years. In the end, we ought to respect the voters. We have disclosure laws. We disclose trades. Respect the voters. If you own something, respect the voters. Well, because the press certainly reports on Republicans, maybe not on Democrats, but Republicans, all these things get reported. That keeps us honest. Not 100%. But again, the unintended consequence is this, the way it would disincentivize the very type of people we need serving here, people who run businesses, people who balance a checkbook, balance a budget. Those people don't want to serve here because we're already making it so unattractive. This would make it vastly more unattractive with all kinds of unintended consequences. So again, I urge my colleagues, vote a strong no against this thing.
Senator Kim.
Yeah, I'll keep this brief, but I just have to say, you know, it is and has been the greatest honor to be able to serve in Congress and serve in this body. And I would want people here that believe that this is the highest honor. You know, not that it is just something that you're weighing and trading off. We are only looking for 535 Americans to serve in Congress out of 330 million people. Surely we can find 535 that understand that when you come here, you have and are held to the highest of standards. You know, that we work jobs whose job descriptions are in the Constitution of the United States. And if you are concerned about how that's going to affect your bottom line, if mutual funds are not good enough for you, then maybe this is not the right job for you. But if we are just trying to find and have that standard so the American people can understand and not have a single question about the motivations of people to be in this building. And I recognize that as I am here in the Senate because of these concerns about corruption and scandals that are out there. They are real, and people are having such distrust in government right now. This is not going to solve all of it, but it's moving in that direction. So I just say, yes, we should try to find the steps that we can to give the assurances to the American people so they don't have to have any question about our integrity.
I just want to take a step back. Our staffs did get the substitute. They did brief, at least I got briefed on what it was, and I got briefed on the change that was handed to us this morning. But the bigger picture, it seems to me, and I just want to be clear, what this bill would do is apply to the president as well as members of Congress to prevent them from trading the stocks they currently hold within 90 days of the passage of this bill. So that is, in fact, applying to Donald Trump in the present, and I want to be very clear about that. Like all members of Congress in this legislation, Donald Trump does not have to divest unless he were to start another presidential term. And the reality is that he is in his second term, so the Constitution prevents that. But the vice president would have to do the same thing if he were to have another term. We would all have to do the same thing. But it gives members the choice to decide whether they are going to divest or run for office. And that seems to me to be a fair way of addressing some of the concerns that we've heard from opponents of this bill. So I just want to take a step back and be real about what does and doesn't apply to the president right now and what is in this bill, and echo Senator Slotkin's and others' view that this is a major and important step forward. To my colleague from Ohio, we have debated this issue on this committee now for several rounds, including in the last Congress, and there's always somebody who finds some small thing to say, well, let's just wait, let's just delay it. I think the work here has been really good. I think you've heard Senator Hawley agree that as it comes to the floor, if there are other changes or clarifications people want, he will work with them on that, and there is still a chance to vote against it on the floor should it get to the floor. But I just want to echo that I think this is a major step forward and an important piece of legislation to make sure that the American public knows that members of Congress and the President of the United States are not spending their time trading stocks when they are supposed to be working here full-time.
Senator Hassan, what you said sounds really nice. It sounds really nice that after we vote for this and this passes, we're going to have a conversation. We didn't. When we voted for this before, that's what I was told. Nobody talked to me. I hear about this Friday night. Nobody's asked me my concerns. I have some experience in business. I can tell you some of the issues. Nobody asks, right? So, I mean, look, reality is if this passes today, there's going to be push to pass this on the floor with no changes. That's just reality.
That may be, but there's always an opportunity if a senator gets an amendment on a Friday night to reach out to the sponsors and talk with them. Thank you.
So I think what we've all talked about is nobody wants to see allegations of insider trading.
I think technically they're informing me you have to call up Scott 1 and then you can second degree it, but I think you have to call up Scott 1 first.
Okay, I call up Scott 1.
Okay. And then can he second degree it now? Now I think you can call the second.
Well, are we going to have debate on Scott 1, Mr. Chairman? Since it's now pending
I
business?
think we've had sufficient debate on the
Well, no,
topic.
no, Scott 1 is important. I'd like to say a word about it
No,
if we're
but
going to bring it
he's
to the
going to
floor.
replace it. He's going
I'm
to
gonna
replace it with
replace it.
Scott 2.
Well, you're going to ask for another amendment.
Yeah, but no, why don't we?
I'm doing my- I'm doing- I'm
Let's
amending
debate
it.
Scott 2.
We just call up Scott 1, which is pending. I'd like to say a word about Scott 1 before he moves to Scott 2.
I'm not going to Scott 2.
You are. You just said you're
No,
going to
no,
do a
I'm just-
second degree amendment to
I've got
Scott
an
1.
amendment to Scott 1.
I want to talk about Scott 1 that you're
finish
trying to
mine
change.
first.
No, yours is
I'll
the
finish
pending
mine
business.
Order. Here's the way it works. Look, the Scott Amendment 1 gets put forward. He's putting a second degree. We're going to vote on the second degree and debate on the second degree. If the second degree fails, he can insist on vote on 1, then we'll debate 1. But if it passes, there is no debate because there is no 1. So present, I guess, your arguments for second degree to Scott 1.
Sure. So as we know, we're doing this because we've watched people that it sure appears that they have somehow figured out how to make a lot of money off their job up here in Congress. So my amendment is to get a review of all the trading by Nancy Pelosi and her husband for the last 25 years. I think it's critical to get to the root of why this bill was proposed and get transparency for the American people. I think, I agree that we've got to figure out, why people don't trust. And I think Speaker Pelosi is the prime example. So this amendment calls for an Inspector General to issue a GAO report on the Pelosi trading for the last 25 years with a report back to the committee within 180 days. I urge my colleagues to support my amendment.
I have a clarification question. This is the report on Nancy Pelosi. Does it include other members of Congress?
No.
Or this is just a
Speaker
report
Pelosi and her husband.
on her husband?
We sent copies around
Okay.
earlier.
I just wanted to be
By
clear.
computer. But we have, we sent it by computer and we can pass out copies.
I guess my only problem in the thing about it is I think it's driven by a lot of, like, for example, there are wealthy people in the Senate who people say, oh, look at all the money he's got. And they have gotten very rich over the last 20 or 30 years they've been in office. But the particular person, I'm not going to mention the name, is married to a very wealthy woman and her family. And it's like, there is an explanation. But on the online, everybody's like, how did that guy get to be so rich? And I worry about targeting one person is the only thing. I don't say that in a mean-spirited way. I just worry about going after one person as opposed to a report on stock investments or more generally than going after one person. But, excuse me? Well, I don't know. I worry about going after people just looking around at everybody's stock trades and trying to make accusations. The Ethics Committee kind of does this already, and I assume the Ethics Committee does it. I hate to put you on the spot, Jim, but what do you think about it from the ethics perspective?
Yeah, I can't speak to the House perspective. For those of us that have served in the House know the fun of being in the House and their dual committees and what they do on ethics. Senate ethics is exceptionally thorough. We've had multiple members, and some have been discussed even a little bit today, that have ethical problems, and they're no longer in the Senate as a result of that. So there are consequences, and there is follow-through. And as Senator Johnson has mentioned, every single stock transaction of $1,000 or more, buying or selling, is made public already right now and is tracked in public and is tracked by ethics. And any question that comes up on a hearing, a meeting, and anything else that happens with any member of the Senate, if there is something that happens and then they trade in that stock later, it is actually brought to ethics, and we follow up with those individuals. And any individual that's in the Senate knows full well that owns stocks, the pressure that they're under constantly, the microscope they're under, and any of their trades. So no, this is very tracked in the Senate.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question, Rick. So does this, the second degree, does this replace the entire bill with the study?
No.
Oh, it's in addition.
So it leaves everything in place and it does the study?
Yeah, just as a study.
And what happens to, what about you, Scott Amendment number 1? Does this replace all of that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so it strikes, Scott Amendment number 1,
Was to cover, was to cover the people in the legislature.
federal, well, no, Scott Amendment number 1 is federal employees, so it would recover National Guardsmen, Army Reservists, it would cover postal services, no, active duty only, active duty only. So what survives of that in this? Are we still going to cover Guardsmen and Reservists and? Okay.
Yeah. So Scott second degree replaces Scott 1. We're not voting on anything Scott 1.
Correct.
Okay. Further discussion?
Ask a roll call.
Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Johnson.
Aye.
Senator Langford. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley. Senator Moreno. Senator Ernst. Senator Moody. Senator Peters.
No.
Senator Hassan. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Fetterman. Senator Kim. Senator Gallego. Senator Slotkin. Senator Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present. Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 7, the nays are 8. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 0, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 7, the nays are 8, and the amendment is not agreed to.
Mr. Chairman?
Say again. Senator Scott.
Okay. I withdraw my secondary amendment to Scott 1. I'd like to call up Scott 2.
Okay. Can you explain it to us?
I withdraw Scott 1, but yeah, Scott 2, this amendment provides for an exemption of the president, the vice president, and their spouses' independence. Look, I've been very clear about my concerns about the provisions of this bill that give Democrats another weapon to attack President Trump and Vice President Vance. After Russiagate, fake impeachments, baseless witch hunts, indictments, the last thing we need to do is give Democrats more weapons to attack the president. We can ban stock trading for Congress, but let's don't give more weapons to Democrats to attack President Trump. I urge my colleagues to support my amendment.
I will oppose the amendment, not because I want President Trump to be investigated and divested and all the things that this bill would do. I'm going to oppose the final bill because I don't want him to be included in any of this. But on the amendment, I think if it's good for Congress, we had to apply it to everybody. I'd go to the president, I'd go to the courts, I'd go to all the staff. I'd put everybody under it. The more the better to spread it. But on this particular one, I'll end up voting no because my opposition to the final bill will be my opposition to Donald Trump being involved in any way. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Senator Johnson.
Aye.
Senator Langford. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley. Senator Moreno. Senator Ernst. Senator Moody? Senator Peters?
No.
Senator Hassan? No. Senator Blumenthal? No. Senator Fetterman? Senator Kim? Senator Gallego? Senator Slotkin? Senator Paul?
No.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 6, the nays are 9. On the vote by proxy, the yeas are 0, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 6, the nays are 9, and the amendment is not agreed to.
Now we're going to vote to adopt the Hawley substitute as modified. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Johnson?
No.
Senator Langford? No. Senator Scott? No. Senator Hawley? Senator Moreno? Senator Ernst? Senator Moody? Senator Peters?
Aye.
Senator Hassan? Senator Blumenthal? Senator Fetterman? Senator Kim? Senator Gallego? Senator Slotkin? Senator Paul?
No.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 8, the nays are 7. On the vote by proxy, the yeas are 0, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 8, the nays are 7, and the amendment is agreed to.
We'll now vote on final passage as modified. Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Johnson?
No.
Senator Langford? Senator Scott? Senator Hawley? Senator Moreno? Senator Ernst? Senator Moody? Senator Peters?
Aye.
Senator Hassan? Senator Blumenthal? Senator Fetterman? Senator Kim? Senator Gallego? Senator Slotkin? Senator Paul? Senator Paul?
No.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 8, the nays are 7. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 0, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 8, the nays are 7, and the motion is agreed to.